The second section of the scene reveals the characters of Hamlet and Ophelia with greater vividness. In fact, it sheds more light on the character of Ophelia, who is lacking the constancy and the moral strength of Desdemona, which makes her utter the line, "I saw Othello's visage in his mind," and the steadfastness of Lady Macbeth, which makes her the partner of greatness for Macbeth. In fact, it sheds more light on the character of Ophelia, who is more docile and meek and even impulsive character like her own father. The scene also reveals a sense of dismay and the feeling of dejection experienced by Ophelia since she is rejected by Hamlet in this scene. Hamlet, on the other hand, becomes a misogynist and a very harsh man due to the severe setbacks he receives from two important women of his life, his mother and his lover Ophelia. This actually leads to Hamlet losing his faith in women and also in the institution of marriage. Therefore, we find Hamlet is expressing his disgust and anger towards Ophelia and implores her to join a nunnery so that she will never be a breeder of sinners. He warns all unmarried people to remain single hereafter. To Be or Not to Be Soliloquy ends with Hamlet seeking the prayers of Ophelia in his favor as he meets her reading a book somewhere in the corridor. Therefore, it's very clear that the lovers meet after a considerable period of time since they last met towards the end of Act 1, when we find Ophelia running and complaining to Polonius regarding the dejected and distraught appearance of Hamlet, which prompted her to run to Polonius to describe her frightful experience. Therefore, in all aspects, the present meeting of the lovers in the corridor is of utmost importance, since they are meeting and they are making an attempt to rekindle their relationship for the better. But as they meet, we find Ophelia ready to hand over the love letters and the remembrances which she received from Hamlet. And the moment Hamlet sees the unexpected expression from Ophelia, he is putting on a defensive mechanism or a cure stratagem in order to save himself from getting totally fragmented from the unexpected blow he is receiving once again from Ophelia. Whatever it may be, we find Hamlet is becoming very vehement and volatile in his expression as he is disowning her completely and imploring her to join a nunnery. So the open and the seething remarks of Hamlet can be the outcome of his anger and resentment that he has for his own mother, Gertrude, for being so unkind and fickle, which he is reflected even in Ophelia. Therefore, Hamlet expresses his deep sense of disgust and anger towards women for befooling men in their relationships, and he prohibits Ophelia from getting married. In fact, he is prohibiting almost all women from getting married in the world, since he does not want them to contaminate the life of men by entering into a relationship of deceit. The conversation between Hamlet and Ophelia in the corridor is of utmost importance, since it leads to a very important soliloquy uttered by Ophelia. The soliloquy is of utmost importance since it reveals the glorified image of Hamlet before he was struck by the tragedy in his life. The soliloquy therefore reveals Hamlet as the glass of fashion, who is the cynosure of all eyes, and the young man who was looked up to by the courtiers, the soldiers, and the common people of Denmark, and how he was the cynosure and the man of grace, adventure, and accomplishments who got wasted and is in a subverted state. The soliloquy therefore reveals the agony of a rejected lover and the shocking realization that it had been caused by her own lack of prudence and proper understanding of Hamlet. As Hamlet walks away, leaving Ophelia bewail her ill fate, we find King Claudius and Polonius coming out behind the tapestries with a new conviction regarding the real reason for Hamlet's distemper. Here we find King Claudius disapproving the firm conviction and the previous theory of Polonius that the reason for Hamlet's melancholic mood is the unrequited love of Ophelia. So we find King Claudius disapproving it with great conviction, since he has understood clearly that Hamlet has no sense of affection for Ophelia. King Claudius therefore brings forth a suggestion to send Hamlet to England to demand the tribute which is due to the kingdom of Denmark. The opinion of King Claudius is not accepted by Polonius, as he still clings on to his own conviction that the malady of Hamlet springs from Ophelia's unreciprocated love. He therefore suggests a new stratagem to arrange a secret meeting between Prince Hamlet and Queen Gertrude in her chamber in order to elicit the real reason for his pensive mood before he is sent to England. And he tells King Claudius that he can be sent to England or to a place of his choice if he fails to disclose the real reason to his mother. The scene ends with Polonius making a request to King Claudius to put his plan to send Prince Hamlet to England on hold until a secret meeting between Prince Hamlet and Gertrude materializes, where she will unravel the real reason for the melancholic mood of her son Hamlet. If she find him not, to England send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think. The last line is a very important line, as it is a euphemistic expression that speaks about their plan to detain Prince Hamlet in a lunatic asylum. The opinion of the counsellor Polonius is approved by King Claudius, as he is giving a very affirmative response to it by the final lines of Act 3, Scene 1, which is, "It shall be so, madness in great ones must not unwatched go."